You maniacs! You blew it up! Damn you! Damn you all to hell! Fascinating. Hello? Oh, hello, Commissioner Bunnyface.
It's Buonafaccio.
Sorry.
Sorry, kid, but you gotta cut this bit short.
Why?
It's the law.
Come again?
The Senate passed the Brevity in Web Shows Act.
What?
Law now holds that any web series that chooses to include a story and/or sketch comedy segment must move the majority of such material to the end of most episodes, though a brief teaser is permissible at the beginning.
Well, who signed that law?
Your buddy Senator Leverson.
Oh.
Well, this right here, this has already been way too long.
Huh. Well, okay.
Sir, I've been...
Sorry, Ivan. From now on, we'll be doing most of this at the end. Roll credits.
Our universe rests on the uneasy border between two worlds. The world of man, ordinary and stable, and the world of games, imaginative and chaotic. Where these worlds collide, one man is called to stand for reason, maintain the balance, and destroy ignorance. He is the Game OverThinker.
And speaking of annoying things being done by the actual Senate, by now if you frequent this vast series of tubes we call the interweb, you've probably had your fill of people like me talking about why you should hate SOPA, the Stop Online Piracy Act currently making its way through the US Congress. Well, this isn't one of those. This isn't about awareness or activism, it isn't even really about SOPA or PIPA. It's about what comes next. Call it a reality check, a set of uncomfortable truths that both internet businesses and internet users are going to have to accept and deal with if we hope to move forward. See, while SOPA, PIPA, and last week's unprecedented internet blackout in protest of them are easily the biggest flare-up yet in the tensions between the traditional media industries and internet users, it won't be the last. Like it or not, the fact is we are now in the last days of a halcyon period where the entertainment industry's general ignorance of internet culture and the rapidly expanding power of internet technology made pretty much the very idea of IP ownership, copyrights, and is this or is not piracy a big old ocean of gray. For the better part of 2 decades, the internet has been the nearly lawless Wild West of intellectual ownership. And much like the real Wild West, it's been fun, but it's also raised a lot of troubling issues. And just like the railroads brought an end to the wild part by bringing civilization to the Old West, so too will the increasing digitization of traditional media bring an inevitable increase in structure and regulation to the internet. In other words, internet users, let me be blunt. The internet is going to change soon, and you cannot stop it. I know, harsh medicine, but medicine all the same. If and when SOPA is defeated, the fact remains that piracy has become a big enough problem that some form of anti-piracy legislation is going to be passed at some point in the near future. Hopefully, if we keep up the good fight, it will not be as draconian and inherently corrupting as SOPA was, but it will happen, and it will fundamentally change huge chunks of web culture. And while that won't be pleasant for many, they will be necessary changes. For example, that whole thing where you could copy someone else's movie or TV show or whatever and pop it up on your YouTube channel without paying to do so and generate traffic for yourself, or downloading TV shows or movies that haven't come out in your territory yet and getting away with it because it had cost the IP owners too much to fight you over it, yeah, that's not going to last much longer, because that is piracy. And while we've all got feet of clay when it comes to that sort of thing, the fact is it's generally not right. Basically, that whole notion of everything on the internet should be free just because it's on the internet, that's over. In one way or another, we're all going to be paying for stuff a bit more frequently than we're used to, because that's fair and that's the way the civilized world works. Do I like this? Of course not. Who doesn't like not having to pay for stuff? But I'm also a businessman, and more importantly, a grown-up. And I don't let people get away with pirating my content, so why should I deny anyone else the opportunity? Yes, including douchebaggy industries and gigantic corporations. Rich people have a right to their intellectual property just like you or I do. The sooner we get used to this, the sooner we can move forward. That being said, the entertainment industry itself has its own harsh reality to confront and its own tough medicine to swallow in this new digital world, and they ain't gonna like it either. Because while the internet is ultimately not going to just make all of their products free, it has changed their ability to set prices and dictate terms forever. And if you think you're pissed that you can't get as much stuff for free anymore, trust me, the corporations are way more pissed that soon they won't be able to charge as much as they want willy-nilly anymore. See, here's the thing about piracy. There are always some people who will always pirate media. Folks with a unique combination of the skill set to get around security systems and the moral, ethical disregard to employ it to steal content. These people will always exist. You can never get rid of them. That's the bad news. Here's the good news. Those people are a tiny minority of the quote-unquote pirating community. Most people do not actively want to pirate stuff. You can get in trouble, it feels wrong, and a lot of the time it's kinda complicated. It's just not in the way living things are wired. The concept of ownership is way down deep in the animal DNA. Even a dog gets upset when you take its stuff away, so we all pretty much know that taking what isn't yours is wrong on a fundamental level. The vast majority of people who are illegally downloading movies, games, music, or whatever else don't want a life of crime. They want stuff, and whether through personal moral failing or some other justification, they've decided piracy is the way they're going to get it. Ask most folks who've pirated a movie here or a song there, and ask why they did it, and it usually comes down to an issue of money, i.e. the item in question was too expensive, or an issue of availability, i.e. it wasn't available to them through any other channel. Now, I want to be very clear about this. I am not saying in any way, shape, or form that being poor makes piracy okay. It doesn't. Stealing a crust of bread to feed your starving family is one thing, but nobody needs entertainment products. I thought this was too expensive is not an excuse to be a thief, and neither is it's not on DVD yet and I'm impatient. However, those are some of the things that can make some otherwise good, upstanding people choose to experiment with piracy. Understanding this is the first step towards stopping it. Take, for example, the music industry. The reason file-sharing setups like Napster became an overnight sensation was not because people didn't want to pay for songs, so much as it was because they didn't want to pay for whole albums worth of songs when all they wanted was one or two popular tracks. And even though the law shut the original version of Napster down, and was legally correct to do so, I reiterate, that wasn't what made music piracy the largely irrelevant issue that it is today, at least compared to movie and game piracy. You know what did? iTunes. People may be morally imperfect, but given the option, most people do not want to be thieves, and given the choice between stealing, paying too much, or paying a much lower price that's still nonetheless more expensive than stealing, they've overwhelmingly chosen the middle option. We have seen this work. This is not rocket science. All it took was for the record industry to realize that technology had changed the game, and they had to adapt or die, and it's time for the movie and games industries to bite the bullet and accept that same realization, that they've basically got three choices. Lose all your money to pirates, waste all your money fighting legal battles through nonsense like SOPA, which will never ever eliminate the problem, or you can continue to make money, albeit perhaps slightly less than you've grown used to, at least at first, through slashing prices and wait times by embracing digital distribution. Look, Hollywood, games industry, I know this is hard to hear. It's not just a money thing, it's a huge logistical pain in the ass to adjust to an entirely new business model and pricing structure. But it's what's gonna have to happen. The money you're dumping into SOPA and other bills like it won't just be ultimately wasted, it's money you could be putting into getting yourselves ready for this rapidly approaching changeover. All things being equal, most people will act according to the path of least resistance. If you want to drastically lower the number of people who become pirates, you simply need to make buying your products easier than stealing them. Given the choice, the vast majority of consumers will choose pay a little legally over pay nothing illegally. And don't worry, there will always be more than enough hardcore nerds like me who still want physical copies, fancy box sets, and all the deleted scenes and commentaries you pack into the fancy retail versions of your movies and games. At the end of the day, piracy hurts everyone, both the people who make the things being pirated and the people who want to buy them. But it takes two to tango, and while I'll gladly say to the pirates, stop stealing stuff, you're ruining it for the rest of us, it's also time to tell the entertainment biz to stop propping up crap like SOPA and start figuring out how to survive in a new world with new rules. Because if we don't stand together on this, we may not be standing at all. Alright, Ivan. Now, what did you have to say before?
I've been monitoring RetroThinker's psychic energy signature, but just now, it completely disappeared.
And what would that mean?
Well, potentially, he could have been teleported into another dimension. That, or he went into a tunnel. One or the other.
Huh. Better keep an eye on it.
What is going on here? Oh, where the hell am I? Hello? Hello?